Hi, welcome to my video, and here I will talk about MATSLIA, particularly on data collection and analysis. And just a quick recap, I have posted two videos already. One is about finding an IA topic and title, and another one is about writing in an introduction, right? Okay, moving on. Just a quick reminder that you are expected to write a minimum of 6 pages of your IA. And of course, as soon as the students see this, they will have a common reaction, which is how. How will you be able to achieve that minimum number of pages? Um, as far as I'm concerned, the easier way to do is to always structure your report. So I divide uh, an IA into 3 parts. First one, of course, introduction, followed by data processing and conclusion. Uh, I have explained the first one, which is introduction, that is available in video B. Yeah, and there I think I have made more than a page. Yeah, and for data processing, you should at least write four a 4 page of data processing, and you only need and next you only need to make 1 page of conclusion. There you go. If you look at the structure, it should not be that difficult to achieve the minimum number of page. Okay, now in this videos I will focus on the data processing. Yep. And also, just to revisit my objective, in my video I'm only suggesting an alternative way to make a satisfactory IA. Alright? If you have another way to approach or to do an IA and you are comfortable with that, then go for that way. Yeah? Right? Okay, let's revisit uh, the topic and the title, and this is available in video A. My topic is about Indonesian welfare, and my title is Modeling Poverty and Birth Rate in Indonesia. And for the mathematical processing, I will be using mathematical modeling. Right? And just a quick reminder to always refer to the IA rubric. This will help you, particularly when you're making an IA report. Yeah. Right. Again, to help you writing a report, wherever possible, try to divide a section into subsection. In this case, I divide data processing into two, into data collection and data analysis. Here is my data collection. Not that long, and in this data collection, you need to consider putting all of these. What kind of data that you collect? I mean, do you collect primary data or do you collect secondary data? And then why? You have to explain that. Why do you collect secondary data, for example? Where's the data from? You have to put that. Okay? So here I collect secondary data, and I use secondary data because due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which limits my interaction with other people. Okay, and I collect the data from a reliable resource, which is the Central Statistical Agency of Indonesia. So after that, then you present your raw data in a table. Okay, there you go. This is your raw data. And do not forget to always label the table or pictures or graph, whatever that you put into your IA report must be numbered and labeled. Okay, next, what you have to explain in data collection is the size of your data. Why do you use that many data? Or why do you select that particular range of years? In this case, I explained that within 2010 to 2017, there's a change in Indonesian presidency, and this might affect the relationship between poverty and birth rate. So that's my reason. And it is better if you can do the same thing. Okay. So always write explanation of why do you select that number of years or that amount of data. Okay, put that in. The clearer your IA, the better. And then when you end a section, try to put a sentence or two to help transition from one page to another page. Yeah. So there you go. A data collection. Now moving on to the next step, which is about data analysis. Okay. Now again, keep in mind, I have chosen mathematical modeling to process my data. Yeah. Right. In data analysis, you can begin with how you plan to present your data analysis. Yep. Here I say that I will divide my data analysis into subsections. Okay, and you can do the same thing. It will make life easier for you when it comes to writing and explaining. So here the first subsection is selection of function. Keep in mind, mathematical modeling, in short, is trying to find a function to fit your scatter plot. Okay, so this is the scatter plot. Okay, so that's the first thing that you have to do. You have to generate and present a scatter plot of the raw data. So this is from the previous table. So these are from the previous table, and these are called a scatter plot. And you are trying to fit other function into your data and choose which one is the best. That's basically mathematical modeling. But which function that you have to choose, because there's so many functions out there. So here I explain my constraint in selecting those functions. Okay, so I write here, sorry, my consideration are as followed. A function is an increasing one, can be linear and non-linear. Why? Because my data is increasing. Again, it can be linear and it can also be non-linear. But for the non-linear, it follows more or less this type of shape. So these are my constraints in terms of selecting function to be fit into my scatter plot. Okay. And here are the function that I have selected. I selected linear function, cubic function, because of this part here, which looks somewhat similar to this. Okay. And also logarithmic function because it has some sort of similar shape to the possible trend of my scatter plot. And lastly, the power function. Okay, so these are the function that I will test against my data. Okay. Okay. Next, when you write your IA report, you have to keep in mind of these, the use of ICT, yeah, because IB expect you to use ICT, and be clear in your process, mathematical modeling in this case, and you must show your math knowledge and math skills wherever appropriate. So let's take a look. Let's start off with the use of ICT. Here I mentioned that I will be using Microsoft Excel to test the function, the previously shown function into my scatter plot, right? And how to test it? It can be found in the trendline menu. So I give the figure here. Okay. So this shows that you are using ICT, right? So next, I summarize my mathematical process. Okay, I say I will generate a linear and non-linear regression using Microsoft Excel, and I will also use Microsoft Excel to generate R-squared, this one here. I give a tick, and the value will be generated automatically. Yeah. And then I say I will use spreadsheet as well, that's ICT, to calculate the standard error of estimate. Okay. So that's the summary of my mathematical modeling process. Now, I started by generating a linear line, or you can call this a line of best fit, a line that best fit your scatter plot. And the equations is generated automatically, as well as the R-square or coefficient of determination also generated automatically using Excel. But you don't just put this in your report. You have to give explanation. Okay? You have to show your knowledge, your mathematical skill. And here I will do this, I will do the same thing to the other three function. Okay? So this is cubic, logarithmic, and power. Sorry. All right? And I give some explanation for each R-square value generated. All right? So again, keep in mind the following. You must show the use of ICT. You must show your math skill, math knowledge, and please be organized and creative in presenting the data. And you have to use proper mathematical notation and avoid empty spaces. Like in this case, normally student will put a graph in the middle and explanation underneath. By doing so, there will be empty spaces created. So you have to avoid that, yeah? Because if there are too many empty spaces, your score will be deducted, right? Okay, so having generated all of these R-square values, yeah, I mentioned here that the cubic regression is the best one. Yeah. But of course in the IA you have to do more than that. You have to show your initiative as well. Here, I said I am aware that R square is more appropriate for linear regression. But in my IA, I use also nonlinear, which are cubic, logarithmic, and power. So I use another indicator, and it is called standard error of estimate. So by doing so, I show the moderator that I understand what's going on. Okay, and it also shows the math skill and initiative. Okay. Okay, next. Here also I explain why I use standard error of estimate. Okay, so again, you have to show your math skill and knowledge wherever appropriate, right? And also you must use proper notation. Okay, again, use proper notation. And this is an example of how to calculate standard error of estimate, and I use spreadsheet. So you have to show the moderator that you are using ICT, right? Okay, so there you go. Right, and this is the final result. I compiled the result of linear, cubic, power, and logarithmic regression, and their standard error of estimate in one table, and it confirms that cubic is the best one, right? So cubic regression is the best one to model my data. Yeah. And again, in the end, you have to state your final result. Okay, here I state or I write the function again, the cubic function, right? So there you go. So that's not too bad, right? So in total, I have created about 6.5 pages for the data collection and analysis, right? So it is not difficult trying to achieve that minimum number required by the IB, right? So please try by yourself. It is not difficult. Yeah. And my tip is to always structure your report and try to divide your work into some components. Well, if you did that, the writing will become much easier, right? And lastly is, this is important, always be original and do your own IA, yeah? Right, thank you for watching these videos. Okay, take care.